Aloha mai kākou. Welcome to Mele and Mo'olelo. This is Thursday. This is November 16th. And today's discussion is KE.KO'AMOKUMOKU.O the mele aia I ke kaia o Malulani. Aia I ke kai a o Malulani ke KO'AMOKUMOKU.O he mau ha papa, he mau mokuli na ko a kaulana uni hawai he aloha ka ike o ku aina maiuka a ke kai he nani maorino aia I ke kai a o Malulani ke KO'AMOKUMOKU.O he mau ha papa, he mau mokuli na ko a kaulana uni hawai he aloha ka ike o ku aina mai ke kai he nani maolino no ka mo'olelo o ke ia aina no ka holo o PELE ma I he PELA KAPU a o Malulani na ko'aku paianaha Mauliauhonua he aloha ka ike o ku aina maiuka a ke kai he nani maorino no ka mo'olelo o ke ia aina no ka holo o PELE ma I he ia no ka PELA KAPU a o Malulani no ke ko'aku paianaha Mauliauhonua he aloha ka ike o ku aina maiuka a ke kai he nani maorino e malamana inoa a oheʻeʻia pili pono pili pa'a I ka aina kupuna he kupuna na inoa na ka kou e malama mai ka waka hiko hiko o ka papa I alaka e aloha ka ike o ku'u aina mai ka a ke kai he nani maolino e malamana inoa a oheʻeʻia pili pono pili pa'a I ka aina kupuna e kupuna na inoa na kākou e malama mai ka waka hiko hiko o ka papa I alaka e aloha ka ike o ku'u aina mai uka a ke kai he nani maolino he aloha ka ike o ku'u aina mai uka a ke kai he nani maolino he aloha ka ike o ku'u aina mai uka a ke kai he nani maolino ai aia I ke kai o Malulani ke Ko'AmokumokuoheʻEʻIa he mau hāpapa he mau mokuli'i nā ko'a kaulana puni Hawai'i a oia hoi hā ke ano o ka olelo o nā kupuna I ka loa kou ike o ke ia aina nani loa mai ka piko o kona hua nui no oia ka olelo o lā kou mai uka a ke kai he nani maoli no ke Ko'AmokumokuoheʻEʻIa So we're going to talk about ke Ko'AmokumokuoheʻEʻIa and of course translate the olelo of this mele. So it begins by saying Aya I ke kaia o Malulani there in the sea of Malulani celestial shade heavenly protection Aya I ke kai o Malulani ke Ko'AmokumokuoheʻEʻIa are the islands, the reefs and the hills together of He'eʻia. He mau hāpapa, the reefs. He mau mokuli'i, small islands. Nā ko'a kaulana puni Hawaii. And these are the reefs, the islands formed from the ko'a, the coral. And back then, I Kabamamua, the people knew and understood this. So the story, Puni Hawaii, Kaulana Puni Hawaii, well known, and everyone in Hawaii knew the story of KE.KO'A.MOKUMOKU.O And why we don't know today? Seriously, because we disconnected. Whether it was the kuleana of the kupuna to teach, or nobody would learn, the mo'olelo kahiko, pilipono pilipao ki ia aina, for whatever reason it was, there was some disconnection. Now what we have to do is reconnect. So if had pilina ole, then we have to ho'o pilina, we have to bring back the connection. If was pono ole, then we have to ho'o pono pono. We have to set the order again of all of these things. No ka maupopo pono ana no, a kako ka pilina o ke ia aina, me nā inoa ka hiko hiko, mai nā kupuna mai. I loko i ke ia mele mai ka wā ka hiko hiko o ka papa ia laka. So, that is the translation, the mana'o of the first verse. So, it begins with aya I ke kaya o Malulani. So, Malulani is one of the sisters of the fire goddess Pele. And the bay is called, or the sea is called Malulani. Again, remember, Kala'ia o Malulani, Kala'ia o Mololani. Two very famous lines that speak of two very important mo'olelo. The Sea of Malulani, and then the area that the gods, the Puku'iakua, came down and created man, Kumuhonua, that was Mololani. So these two place names in the Ahupua'a of He'eia are very, very important. And these names, these WAHI PANA, these legendary places, and the mana'o behind the names are the reflection of not only the importance, but they reveal the story of the Ahupua'a, of the names, and how important they are. So Mololani is the heavenly churning or the twisting by the heavenly ones as they formed from the soil the first man, taking the onekea of Kahakaha'ea, the white sand of Kahakaha'ea, taking the lepo alaya from Pu'Hawai'i, the red dirt, and the lepo ele uli uli, the gray black dirt. All these colors will mix together as they formed the first man, Kane Hulihonua. So the Mololani, the turning, the twisting, the churning by the heavenly ones at this place was exactly where they created, the Puku'iakua created Kane Hulihonua. And very briefly, Kane Hulihonua, after he was created, given life, given shape, and given form, stood in the sun, cast a shadow on the earth, and the gods, the Puku'iakua, took that shadow and they created the first woman, and that was Keakahulilani. So these are mo'olelo, these are mo'okuauhau, that speak of, again, the Wahipana, the legendary places, the sacred places of the Ahupua'a of He'eia. The second verse says, Noka mo'olelo o ki ia aina. So from the sequence of the history and all the stories o ki ia aina of this land, from noka holo o pele ma e I He'eia, from the time of the journey, the sailing of Pele and her family into He'eia. Noka pela kapu o Malulani, from that time of Pele, from the time of the pela kapu o Malulani, the sacred flesh of Malulani, na ko'a kupayanaha Mauliauhonua. So, noka pela kapu o Malulani, that's a very important line in this mele, because in the ancient tradition, we call configuration or kakuai, from bones to aumakua. The bones must be prepared accordingly to a pono, an order or a tradition. So, after the death of Malulani in He'eia, first, kapu holo holo anano ke kino kupapa o ke ia kupuna wahine. They have to steam the body. Mahope o kapu holo holo anano ke kino kupapa ka hole hole anano o ka iwi. And after the body is steamed, they have to strip all the flesh of the body. Mamu o ke kaula'i ana no o nā iwi I kala no ka malo'o ana o ka iwi. Yeah. Hole hole no la ko I ka PELA mai ka iwi mai. So they have to strip the flesh from the body before they put it out there in the sun to dry. Now that PELA KAPU is very, very important. This PELA KAPU is mentioned in many mo'olelo pertaining to these aiwa, wondrous beings of our ancient time, our ancient past, like ka PELA KAPU o Ka'akae and other ka PELA KAPU names. Well, this ka PELA KAPU o MALULANI pertains to the flesh that was stripped from the bones of our akua wahine MALULANI. This is mamua o kaliloana o ki ia wahine I aumakua ma ke ano kakuai. So this was before she became the aumakua and eventually the goddess. So this is very, very important to know and understand. So what happens is the ohana take the PELA KAPU out into the sea and they will deposit the PELA KAPU into the ocean. Now, with the PELA KAPU of MALULANI, when they deposited the flesh out into the waters, some of the flesh sank to the bottom. All right. So the story goes that the flesh that sank to the bottom anchored itself to the bottom and then formed the many reefs. Okay. So when you look down from Konahuanui into He'eia, or today you get one beautiful vision when you're coming out of H3, that's Paliha'iku and Pali'ioleka'a. You see this beautiful, beautiful arrangements of these ha'apapa, these reefs out into the sea. Okay, now the PELA KAPU that floated up, they began to connect themselves to the bottom of the ocean. And as legends say, they formed the islands of Ko'Amokumokuohe'EʻIa. So, the islands, of course, we know are Moku Kapapaʻia Laka, and then we have Moku Kekepa, and Moku Manu, and we have the Ahu, the altar of Laka. But because of that ancient time and geographically speaking, what took place down there, waters rising and waters sinking, we get Kaya Kahinali'i and many mo'olelo that speak to those things. Even the hills of He'eia, legends say that were once submerged, are part of the PELA KAPU of MALULANI and make up a part of the inoa Ko'Amokumokuohe'EʻIa. So pu'u Hawaii loa, pu'u ma eli eli. You know, this was very, very important to know and understand the pono of the creation of all of this through the Pele family, the volcanic eruptions of Pele, and in the story including of Pele's sister Hi'iaka I Kapolio Pele. And at He'eia we get one area known as Kapaipai Hula o Hi'iaka. And then attached are the other sisters of the family, that is Malulani, for whom the song is written, Aya ike kai Malulani. And then you have Ka'ohelo, as well as Vaialani. Now, in the Mo'olelo, of the preparation of the bones for transfiguration, the sister in charge of the pono, the protocol, was Vaialani. Well, no ka mo'olelo o ke ia aina, no ka holo o pele ma I he'eia, because remember, that place that they refer to as Kaneohebe, that the kupa aina, the noho papa, the iwi hanau o ka aina referred to as Ko'AmokumokuoheʻEʻIa, is an old volcano. You see? So, before the Pele family moved on to the other islands, this is a story, pili pono pili pa'ano ki ia aina, of the Pele family here in He'eia, on the moku of Oahu. And this is how this was all formed through the Pela kapu of Malulani. And this story, na ko'a kupaya naha, these astonishing, amazing reefs, Mauliauhonua, that are so very, very ancient to this place. Kupaya naha, amazing, astonishing. Mauliauhonua is a beautiful word that speaks to something being very ancient and very well established. Like the mo'olelo of He'eia, like the stories of He'eia, like the WAHI PANA of He'eia, the legendary places of He'eia, like the ohana of He'eia, and like the families of He'eia, who have been here for generations and generations. Pili pono pili pa'a ki ia aina, that still cling to this land. They are the honone ka aina. They are like the turtles that move slowly. The turtles, yeah. The honu, pili ki ia hua olelo me ka hua olelo honua. Honua ne epuo ka aina, honu ne epuo ka aina. Ancient proverbs and ancient words that reflect ancient families connected to Aina, well established through, again, the Mele, the Mo'olelo, the WAHI PANA. He iwi, he i'o, he koko. They can never separate that pilina, because as people may know or may not know, the ohana of He'eia claim as their own makua because of these mo'olelo and the journey of Pele ma'i He'eia, including all of her family. They claim Pele and the fire as an aumakua, and they claim the sharks because of the relationship of Kamohoali. And there is a hapapa, a ko'a, that is called the ko'a mano, where the ohana of He'eia would, hanai mano, would go out and feed the shark of Makua. So when we use that term, Mauliauhonua, we're speaking of very, very, very ancient things, well established from ancient time through time to us today. a very ancient connection, a very ancient establishment. Maikava kahiko hiko, from the very ancient time. Maikava kinohinohi, from like the genesis of when things were being created. That's that word, Mauliauhonua. And when you look at the word Maulia, it reflects the seat of life, the heart, the very being. That's the Mauli. Not the Mauli now, but the Mauli. It's a different word. So we reflect an olelo no'eau that says, ua kuke'ia velo a Mauliauhonua. Ua kuke'ia velo a Mauliauhonua. It translates to, this family is old, well established, well connected to, of course, this aina, this wahipana, this mo'olelo. So this is the kahua, the foundation of this mele, aya ike kai o malulani. And when the chorus says, he aloha ka ike o ku'aina, love for the vision of this land, he aloha ka ike o ku'aina, mauka ake kai, from Ioleka'a, Ha'iku, down to the sea, KE.KO'AMOKUMOKU. He nani maori no. Truly beautiful. I'm speaking about how much I love the knowledge that was fed to me, the mana'ai, that came from my kupuna, from He'eia. That mana'ai was the mo'olelo, the mo'okuauhau of our traditional lands here in He'eia. That ike to see, that ike to know and understand, that ike to observe, to learn. Ka'au ana, the enlightenment that comes from kupuna, who know and understand. The hulu kupuna, the kupuna as precious as feathers. Feathers for the ahu'ula. Feathers for the mahi'ole. Feathers for the ka'e'ula. These are feathers. And the feathers, because they were so highly valued, people paid taxes with feathers. These feathers compared to the kupuna, the hulu kupuna of He'eia, that through the kupu process, the growth process, through the hanai iho, mekamanai, through the nurturing with these food that contain wisdom, knowledge, the mana o ka olelo, the authority of the olelo Hawaii. Then we come to the last verse. E malama na inoa o He'eia. This first malama is important because it says to honor the names of He'eia. E malama na inoa o He'eia. Malama, of course, having many meanings, but also to have light, to glow, to shine, like the moon. The malama lama ana o ka mahina. Ka malama ana no na pali ko'olau, the brilliance of the Ko'olau Mountains. Malama na inua o He'eia. Take care. Malama, honor the names of He'eia. Pili pono pili pa'a i ka aina kupuna. Because they are or they have been placed there, or they are connected there, rightfully so, in the ancient order, in the natural order, and they should remain so in this ancestral land. Pilipono, pilipa'a i ka aina kupuna. He kupuna na inoa na kākou e mālama. These names are ancient names. These names are ancestral names. These names are kupuna, represent kupuna, reflect kupuna. And we have kuleana to perpetuate them, to learn them, to know and understand them, and the relationship through the mo'okuauhau, through the mo'olelo, to these names. And never lose sight, ike, vision, ike, understanding, ike, of these names. Mai ka wā ka hiko hiko o ka papa ia laka. Because they come from an ancient time, from ka papa ia laka. Now, at the beginning of the lecture, I spoke about the creation of the first man and the first woman. That comes from the Kumuhonua genealogy. Kumuhonua, the source of the earth. That came from the Kumuhonua genealogy. Kane huli honua, the churning of the earth, of the honua, to create the first man. And then I spoke about how they caught the shadow, the aka, when he stood up, and they created woman, ke aka hurilani. Now the two of them, Kane huli honua and ke aka hurilani, produce or have a child, a son. And that is ka papa ia laka, the very, very ancient kupuna of He'eʻia. Now, this is a beautiful story because several generations after that, with the grandchildren of ka papa ia laka, there is a great flood or a great tidal wave. And Vakea and Haumea and their ohana are all washed out into the sea, into Kekaya o Malulani, or Kekai o Malulani, out into the sea of KE.KO'AMOKUMOKUOheʻEʻIa. And while they're out in the open ocean, the kahuna tells Vakea, in order for them to be saved, he has to make an offering to the gods. Miraculously, Vakea is able to catch a fish, and that fish is Kumu, source, creator, reason, purpose. He catches a fish, and he holds the fish I loko o ka heiau o kona maulima, within the palm of his hands, creating a heiau, a temple. And as he holds the fish, I loko o ka heiau o kona maulima, ka hea kuno o Wakea ina kini akua, ina kini aumakua, ina kini kupuna. He calls out to his ancestors. After his prayer is finished, from out in the open seas, he and all of his ohana are washed onto the shore and onto the island of Kapapa'i Alaka. in a sense, saved by the island that is his very own kupunakane, ka papa ialaka. So these stories are truly Mauliauhonua, ancient stories, well-established stories, especially through the ohana Mauliauhonua o ki ia ahupua of he'eʻia. So this is the mele and the mo'olelo. Aia I ke kai a o malulani. Gun hana ho me ki ia mele aia I ke kai a o malulani. Aia I ke kai a o malulani ke KO'AMOKUMOKU a o he'eʻia he mau hapapa he mau mokuli'i na ko'a kaulana puni Hawaii he aloha ka ike o ku'u aina mai uka a ke kai e nani maolino no ka mo'olelo o ke ia aina no ka holo o PELE I he'eʻia no ka PELA KAPU a o MALULANI na ko'aku paianaha Mauliauhonua he aloha ka ike o ku'u aina mai uka a ke kai he nani maolino e malama na inoa a o he'eʻia pilipono pilipa'a I ka aina kupuna he kupuna na inoa na kako e pulama mai ka waka hiko hiko o ka papa I alaka he aloha ka ike o ku'u aina mai uka a ke kai he nani maolino e malama na inoa a o he'eʻia pilipono pilipa'a I ka aina kupuna e kupuna na inoa na kākou malama mai ka wā ka hiko hiko o ka papa I alaka e aloha ka ike o ku'u aina mai uka a ke kai e nani maolino e aloha ka ike o ku'u aina mai uka a ke kai e nani maolino. And there you have it, the mele about the KoʻAmokumokuoheʻEʻIa, established in the kai of Malulani by the Akua Wahine Malulani here in the Ahupua'a of He'eʻia. So this is mele and mo'o'ulelo for today, November 16, 2023. All the way here from Windward Community College. And I'm going to say aloha ahui ho for today. Nā ke akua no ka ho'ola, ka ho'omalu. Me ka ho'omaikai maluno o kākou. Ka la hui o Hawaii nei. Me ke aloha nui a kākou pakahi a pau. Ke aloha nui, ke aloha nui, ke aloha nui a kākou.